Hi guys, it's Mrs. Trinitza, your librarian. Since we can't be at school together right now, I thought I would bring the library lesson to you. So let's get started. Okay, you know how we have been talking about fiction and nonfiction books. And what we're going to do today is we're going to review what a fiction and nonfiction book is, and then we will talk about the different features that a nonfiction text has. So let's look at your learning intention. I can work with my teacher to identify nonfiction text features, and success is that you can complete a group nonfiction text feature sorting activity. Well, we're not going to do that today. Since we're not at school, we're going to do another activity. It's going to be a matching activity. And you'll see in a little bit what we're going to do. Okay, let's take a look at this video about fiction versus nonfiction. That way we can review it a little bit.
Hey guys, it's your geeky library lady. Did you know that there are two kinds of books in every library? Yup, fiction and nonfiction. And it is up to us to find out about them so we can find books that we like and that we will read. Let's start with fiction. I love fiction. These are stories. All storybooks are fiction. These have characters, settings, and plot. You know, where events that happen. Fiction can make you laugh and fiction can make you cry. Some people call fiction fake to help them remember. Look at this book. It is about a boy who goes on an adventure with a silver dragon. Is it fiction? Of course. The boy and the dragon are the characters. They are in a mystical valley, the setting, and they run into many creatures, the events. Wow, fiction is fabulous. So if you want a good story, find a fiction book. The other kind of book are not stories, but are instead full of facts and information. These are called nonfiction. To remember, people will say nonfiction is not fake. In fact, nonfiction is about real people, real places, and real things. Let's say you are trying to find information about penguins. Which is going to give you more facts? A story of a dancing penguin, or one that tells you about penguins' lives? Of course, the one about real penguins. You can tell because you see real penguins on the cover. But be careful. Some nonfiction books have illustrations instead of photographs. They still tell us facts, so they are nonfiction. So if you want to learn something new, try nonfiction. Remember, fictions are stories and nonfiction is real information. Any questions?
Okay, good job, guys. So now we have talked about fiction versus nonfiction. So how is fiction different from nonfiction? Well, they were talking about how nonfiction is about real things, real people, real places, and real things. And fiction, remember, starts with the letter F, and that can stand for fake. And then nonfiction has an N, so you could start it with not fake. All right, guys, and remember, fiction is make-believe and nonfiction is about real things. Okay, let's go over really quick before we look at a video different things that are in a nonfiction book. A book that is about real things. We have the title, which tells the reader what information they learn about. Table of contents, which is in the beginning of a nonfiction book, and it tells you the different sections of the book and what pages they start on. There's headings for each section that tells you what that main section is about. Bold print, A lot of nonfiction books have words that are darker than the rest of the words. And they do that so they can tell you the important words that they want you to learn from the book. Pictures. Non-fiction books will usually have real photographs, real pictures of real things. Some of them have charts to show you information. And they also have what's called a glossary that's at the back of the book. And a glossary is like a dictionary. Some of you may not have heard about a dictionary yet, but a dictionary tells you what words mean. And then there's the index. And what the index does is that it's also at the end of the book, and it tells you what different topics, what different subjects are found in the book, and what page you can find them on. Okay, so let's take a look at a nonfiction text feature video. This will show you what these features look like inside a real nonfiction book. Okay, this is the title of the book. It can be found on the cover. So if you look, you can see it on the cover. And you can also see it on the spine, the side of the book. And also when you open the book, there's a page inside that'll have the title on it also. There's the title page. This is what a table of contents looks like. That's in the beginning of a nonfiction book. If you look, it says table of contents, and look, it has all of the different titles to the different chapters in the book. And it also shows you what page they start on. So this book talks about birds, and it talks about lots of different types of birds. Then if you look down here, it's got a glossary, which is like a dictionary. It tells you what the words in the book mean. And the index, which also tells you the topics that are in the book and where you can find them in the book. Now this is what's called a heading. You will see this on each section of the book. So when we looked at the table of contents, the first chapter in it said birds. So here's where that starts. And the heading says birds, just like it did in the table of contents. So you are going to be able to read in this section about different types of birds. Okay, bold print words. Those are dark words that they call attention to the words that are important. So like this word says species, and this word says prey. And then if you go look back in the glossary, and they'll show you that in a few minutes, it will tell you what the word species means and what the word prey means. And you can see these words are darker than the rest of the words, because these are important. They want you to know what they mean. Okay, hold on on just a second for me. I want to go back to captions. Okay, I apologize. This is not cooperating with Miss T. Okay, so let's take a look. Captions are words that are below a picture or a photograph that explains what that picture is about. So if you look at this picture right here, of course it's a picture of a bird, but this explains, this little piece down here is the caption, and it tells you what this picture is all about. And if you look over here, they made it a little bigger. It says, the mockingbird is one of the many songbirds at home in desert country. The mockingbird's variety of songs is second to none, meaning that they are really pretty birds. They sing really pretty and make really pretty noises. And this is what Miss T was talking about earlier. The glossary that's in the back of the book. This says glossary, and here are the words that were bold, that were darker than the rest of the words in the book. And these are what are called definitions. They tell us what these words mean. So it helps us learn these words from the book so that we know what they mean in the book. And here is the index. Remember, we said that's in the back of the book. And see, it shows you all the different topics in the book and the pages you can find them on. So if you wanted to learn about a cardinal, you could go to page 20. If you wanted to learn about lizards, you could go to page 9. If you needed to know something about snakes, you could go to page 9. Or if you wanted something about plants, you could go to page 11. So that's in the back of the book. Sometimes books, nonfiction books, have timelines, but you'll see those when you get a little bit older and you read nonfiction books that are a little bit harder. And nonfiction books also have charts and tables. So this gives people information in a visual way, which means that somebody could tell you, oh, this is different information about something, but they put it in a chart or a table so that you can see what they're talking about. It's easier for you to understand. And you'll also find these when you get a little bit older and more difficult nonfiction books. Okay, guys, good job. All right, so we have talked about nonfiction features and what they look like when you're looking in a nonfiction book. So here I wanted you to be able to listen to a nonfiction book online. It's called Lions and Tigers. So let's listen to it. Let's see if we can find any of our nonfiction features in this book.
Reading Pioneers is proud to present Lions and Tigers, written by Katie Pike.
Okay, if you look at this, This is the table of contents in the Lion and Tiger's book, and we just learned about the table of contents. So on page 4, you can learn about lions and tigers. On page 8, you can learn about family life. On page 12, you can learn about whether they live in grasslands or forests. On page 14, you can learn about what food they eat.
Lions and tigers.
Now let's take a look up here. Lions and tigers. So remember, that was the first thing on our table of contents. So this is our heading, lions and tigers.
Lions and tigers are big, wild cats. They are different, but they are both cats. How are lions and tigers the same? And how are they different? Here is the face of a lion and the face of a tiger. Look closely at the photos. What can you see? Lion.
Okay, let's take a look. There's one word on here that's darker than the rest of the words. So that is a bold word. Okay, so let's listen.
Lions have golden brown fur. Older male lions have large brown manes of fur. Female lions are smaller and have no mane. Tiger fur is marked with thick black stripes. Tigers can grow bigger than lions.
Okay, so let's take a look at this page. We have another heading called Family Life. It was the second one on our table of contents at the beginning. We also have two bold words, pride and breed. So let's listen.
Family life. Lions are the only cats that live in groups. A group of lions is called a pride of lions. Tigers mostly live alone. They only get together for a few weeks to breed. Lion cubs. A lioness gives birth to 2 to 5 cubs. The cubs have light spots on their fur. Tiger cubs. A female tiger gives birth to 3 or 4 cubs. Tiger cubs are born with stripes. The cubs stay with their mother until they are 2 years old. Grassland or forest. Lions live in open grasslands where there are few trees. This is known as savanna. Tigers prefer to live in forests and jungles where there are many trees. Food. Lions hunt and eat animals. They mainly eat large animals such as antelope, zebra, buffalo, and deer. Tigers hunt and eat large animals too. They will also eat smaller animals such as fish, birds, and lizards.
Okay, here is the glossary and the index at the end of the book, like we just learned on the video about non-fiction text features. Here's the glossary. Just like a dictionary, it tells us what the words mean. Breed it means to have babies. Mane means long fur. Long hair. Pride means a family group of lions. And savanna means a large grassy area with few trees. Also the index, which is at the back of the book. It gives us different topics that are in the book and the pages we can find them on. So if I wanted to know about cubs, I could go to page 10 or 11. If I wanted to find out about jungles, I could go to page 13. If I needed to learn about manes, I could go to page 6. And if I wanted to learn about prides, I could go to page 8.
Thank you everyone for reading along with us to this book, Lions and Tigers. How did you like it? Comment below your thoughts about lions.
Okay, good job, guys. So you were able to listen to a nonfiction book and look at a lot of the nonfiction text features. All right, so now we are going to do an activity together. First, I want to show you really quick before we do our activity. I have 2 examples of a fiction book and a nonfiction book. So remember, fiction starts with F, so you can think of fake. So if you give a pig a party, that is make-believe. Because remember, pigs can't wear dresses and they don't have parties. Then here we have an autobiography. This is from a singing group called One Direction that my daughters really liked a long time ago. And remember, when we talked about different types of nonfiction before, we said some of them are informational books, like Lions and Tigers, but they can also be biographies or autobiographies. Remember, we said biographies were written, it was the story of somebody's life written by another person. Autobiographies, remember, we said were that person's life written by that person. So if you look down here, it says autobiography. So this band wrote this book about themselves. Alrighty? So now I want to do an activity with you. This is, let Miss T move this out of the way. And this is the activity. It's called text feature matching. And what we are going to do is we are going to look over here where it has the words for the text features, and then over here it has the picture of the text features. So we want to match these up. All right, so let's take a look. I've got the word heading, I've got the word label, I've got the word map, I've got the word graph, and I've got the word caption. So let's take a look at this first picture. This first picture looks like it has little different bars, and down here it's giving me information about different animals. So I think, let's think, does that look like it would be a heading? It doesn't look like the heading from the book we listened to. What about label? No, I don't see it labeling anything. What about a map? No, that doesn't look like a map. What about a graph? Yes, that looks like a graph from the video that we watched. These are the bars telling us about the information about these animals. So that is the picture of the graph. Good job. Now let's look at this picture. It's a picture of a dog. Then underneath it, it says, the dog was tired after a long day at the park. So let's look. Heading. Well, that's not really showing us the beginning of a chapter of a book. Label. Well, it's not really labeling anything. It's not telling us exactly what that picture is. Map, oh, that's not a map. It's not showing us like an area. Caption. Well, if you remember from the video, captions were below a picture and they described the picture. The dog was tired after a long day at the park. So this is describing the picture of the doggy. So that is caption. Now let's look. This picture here, it's of a house, and the word house is here with a line pointing to it. So let's say heading. No, that's not showing us what a section of a book is about. What about label? Well, it is giving us a word and it's pointing to the picture, so it's telling us what that picture is. So yes, I would say that that is a label. Let's look at this next picture. This is a page from a book, and the big words at the top say Lion's Rule. Heading. Well, does that look like the beginning of a part of the book? It sure does. And do Lion's Rule, is that up here in big letters describing the part we're getting ready to read? It sure is. So I think heading would go with this. The only one we have left is map. So let's take a look at this map. It's showing us different places. It's got little labels for the places. It's got little trees and streets. That looks like a map to me. It's showing me different things. So I am going to match that with a map. All right, guys, good job. I'm really glad you could do this with me. And maybe while we're out of school for a while, you guys might have a nonfiction book at home and you could take a look at the book, and maybe someone at home, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, maybe somebody could go over the nonfiction book with you and you could help them point out the nonfiction features. All right, guys, I hope you had a good time, and I will try my best to get another lesson out to you next week. Talk to you soon and take care.